So hello again. In this next video we're going to be looking at how to enter numbers to integers and doubles from the keyboard, and we're also going to be looking at pointers, or thinking a little bit about pointers. Okay, so we have the program from last time where we were looking at integers and doubles mostly, and we were declaring them and setting their values here, and then we were printing out the values here. So that's all good. We can use that still. Let's just reorganize things a bit. I'm going to squash things up to make more space. So what we're going to do is, here's one I prepared earlier. So we're going to put an instruction on the screen. Please enter value of n1. And the command we use is scanf %d. Now this works a bit like printf, but instead of printing something, it's going to read in a value. And %d means it's going to read in an integer. And now what's slightly different to printf, now when we printf, and we use %d to print n1, we use just n1, we send the value of n1. When we scanf, when we read, then we need to put in ampersand n1. Now ampersand is shift 7 on my keyboard. It means instead of sending the value of n1, send the address, the memory address of n1, where n1 is stored. So the scanf routine knows to guess an integer and then to put it in the memory address where n1 is. Okay, let's finish that command with a semicolon and try it. So immediately the program stops because we've got this printf statement, and now I'm going to type in 239 and hit return. And now when it prints out the values, that value of 239 has gone in to n1. Notice that we set n1 to be 15 here, but because we've got this statement here afterwards, we've overwritten the value of 15 and replaced it with a new value of 239. Okay, so that worked. Let's continue. Let's enter the energy and the temperature. So printf, please enter. Now what I'm going to say is temperature, comma, energy, \n. Now scanf is a little bit fragile. And now to read in a a double, we don't use %g, we use a different code. We use %lf. LF means long float. So originally people would have mostly used floats for real numbers, or float is short for floating point. But as computers got more powerful, then people increasingly used doubles instead of floats. Doubles were double precision floats, and so in this code LF means long float or double. And what we need to do is put in here again the address of temperature and the address of energy. Now notice that in the printf I put a comma between temperature and energy to say that these numbers should be separated by a comma, and also in the scanf I've put a comma in to separate the numbers. So let's try running this. Let's see what happens. So again, we have to enter n1. So this time I'm going to put 78 in for n1. temperature comma energy. Well, temperature can be 34.2, and energy, I'm going to put a big energy of 239 E 10, so that's times 10 to the power of 10. Let's see what happens with that. So again, N1 has come out correctly for the number we entered, and energy has come out, well, it was 239 times 10 to the power of 10, which is the same as 2.39 times 10 to the power of 12. And for the temperature, 24.2 has come up nicely there. Now, I was saying that Scanf can be a little bit fragile. I'm not sure what's going to happen now, but what we're going to try and do is enter those things again. 78. Now this time I'm going to say 24.2 for the temperature and leave a space, and the energy can be 352 E8. So now it got the temperature correctly here, but because I didn't put a comma in there and it was expecting a comma, it's actually messed up the value of energy. And what it's done, which is reasonably sensible, is it's stuck with the old value of energy up here and hasn't messed with it. Now, Scanf you have to be careful with. Now, what we can do though is we can change our program, and I'm going to just put a space between temperature and energy and a space between these two. And now if we run it, again, this time we're going to have 41 as the value of N1. We'll stick with 24.9 for the temperature. Now I'm going to leave a space between temperature and energy. Let's say 4.93 E minus 13 for reference. Energy. And now it works. We get the temperature and the energy both as the values we've entered, and in this case we've just left a space between the numbers, and that's because in this scanf statement we have a space between those. Okay, I think this is a good point to stop, but what we've been thinking about is scanf, and the key thing to remember about scanf is that the key things to remember is that when we're reading in, we read in for an integer with %d, but for a double %lf, and then when we put a list of variables after it, then and n1 gives the, or ampersand n1 gives the address of n1, the memory address of n1, and similarly we want the memory address of temperature and of energy here. So, okay.